What is up, guys? It's Aria, aka Bosquet. I just dropped a brand new EP on Monstercat titled Cloud, featuring a song called Cloud and Dawn. Anyways, I just want to make this video to show you guys how I made the song, the different elements I used, and kind of the thought process that came behind the whole damn thing. So first, I'm going to start with the intro. The intro is pretty basic. The whole song revolves around this one piano melody that plays throughout the whole entire song. I don't think there's a moment without it. And I'm going to solo it with the effects. And that's the chord progression. It's 3 chords. No, it's 4 chords. And it's pretty simple. This is what it sounds like without all the effects. That's loud. For this one, I used Alicia keys. So I wanted to kind of give it like a more ethereal feel. And the way I did that was by adding a loaded delay and Valhalla room reverb, as well as just low passing. Also put an RC color, kind of give it a wobbly effect. Filtering, compression to kind of make it not sound so hectic. Just trying to make the sound less dry and just kind of put it in a space that feels floaty, like a cloud. It works out really well. It fit the song, and I was able to kind of base every single decision off of this chord progression right here. In addition to that, another big main element is this pluck, which is also, I believe, a piano. I use this far, far away retro piano preset. This is the piano dry. I really like this piano because it had a lot of grit, a lot of texture, EQ to dim it, make it a little thinner in the low end, compressor to keep it balanced, a filter that gradually goes up as the track approaches the drop, EQ, which is the low pass again, MSED, which is this awesome plugin that just boosted the mono signal to kind of give it more presence in the intro where it needed it, some soothe. That's honestly just kind of mellowing it out. There's a big hum, so I kind of try to get rid of that. And this Fab Filter Pro Q3 doing the same exact thing. Simple sound, but with all the effects, it kind of matched the earlier piano. So together it sounds like this. Really nice, really fluffy, really dreamy. But with all that low passing, I wanted to add some ambience, something in the higher region to kind of make it feel like it's in a space. Adding atmosphere on top of these pianos kind of give it a little bit more life. Feels like it's not coming out of a DAW and more like it's coming out of a busy street or a forest. Below the piano, the atmosphere and everything, we also have this low pass filtered saw, super saw. This is kind of like what gives the whole entire track warmth and low end energy. This is the main bass on the drop, on the breakdowns. It comes and goes, but it's really important, and it's pretty much, besides the kick, the only low end that you get. So hats off to Super Sauce, yeah. So for the build, if you even really call it a build, I introduced the main element of the track, which is the vocal chop. Woo! This is the beautiful vocal chop that exists throughout the whole entire song. It is Heather Sommers. This is a splice pack that I got. I think Cara did it with her. Pretty much is my favorite vocal pack of all time, maybe. Anyways, here it is without all of the crazy effects. It's not much different. The only difference between this and the dry signal is NS1, which pretty much kills any noise that comes from the input. Auto-tune, which really doesn't need to be there. Delay, OTT, some Valhalla room for reverb, 2 EQ3s for literally no reason, an EQ8 that's kind of killing some low ends, and a notch at 4.45 kilohertz, which is pretty sharp. A layer of the same exact signal, just with a bandpass at around 1.9K. Parallel with the original signal. Glue compression, another EQ, a low pass that gradually goes up because we don't want to reveal all the high end before the drop. And MSED, which is boosting the middle signal, the mono signal, by 0.5 decibels. Also this thing right here, but this thing is going to come a little bit later, so watch out. As the song progresses into the drop, I also add this little guitar contact thing. I add Electric Sunburst Deluxe, and it's on the prime time D muted. But basically this is how it sounds without any effects. It follows the bass notes. I have an auto filter that's gradually going up to just reveal itself, an OTT on about 43%, and gain volume, which pretty much fades in the signal from negative infinity to about 0 dB. Also, to add to the groove of the track, I did a 10 millisecond delay on the guitar and a 12 millisecond delay on the vocal effects. This one's pretty cool. This is a Sultan impact, but reversed so that you kind of feel rumble as the drop approaches, and it gives this awesome texture. Super sick, and a great segue into the drop. So the drop is pretty much everything that I just mentioned with drums. Talking about the drums specifically, we have the kick and the snare. So here's the kick, simple kick. It's important to note that all the kicks, the snares, the hi-hats, some of the Foley is all attached to this groove pool called Future Garage. The kick is a kick I stole from a song, don't tell anybody. And the snare is made up of 3 layers. This Esta snare, this Take a Day Trip snare, and this snap that is set to negative 15 milliseconds. So basically 15 milliseconds in the future. So it kind of gives it like a little pre-clap. In addition to that, I have this cool little Foley that plays right before the snare, and another one that plays right before this iteration of the snare. Next, we just have hi-hats. Yeah. Then my favorite part of the song, the Foley. The Foley, I think, was actually one of the first elements I'd put on the drop to kind of give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more of a groove. Without all the Foley, the track pretty much just, oh crap. Without the Foley, the track sounds like this. Gives it a little bit more of a complex, layered feel. So here are all the Foley channels soloed. A bunch of clicks, switches, keys, you name it, we got it. Some of these are from the video game splice packs. Some are Cashmere, some are Medicine. I just type in Foley and I pick what I find. But definitely a very important part of the track. On top of that, we also have these cool little breaths that play every so often. And a bunch of downlifters. Back to the melodic stuff, we have the vocal chop coming in at full force with a real melody this time. Yeah, love the vocal chop. Really important piece of the song, really in your face and just kind of like the biggest emphasis really. Under that, we have the guitar. We also have the main pianos from the intro playing underneath as well. And then we have this cool little synth that I call it the Show Me Love synth because it's pretty much the same organ sample from Show Me Love. I play that with the bass notes, but also a perfect fifth. All following the Future Garage groove. And this is pretty simple too, nothing much to it. I got from a Vengeance pack. This is how it sounds without any effects. Great tonality, but a lot of low end. So I cut some of the low end, put an OTT on 29%, and put some RC color to kind of give it that fluttery, lo-fi sound. As well as some overdrive to emphasize 1.3 kilohertz and some Valhalla shimmer to give it a dreamscape quality. And yeah, it's a simple 2-note chord, if you even call it a chord. And then it kind of extends out to a full triad. You can really hear this sound on the turnaround. Another cool element that I added, kind of in a call and response type way, was these guitar shots. So the first guitar on the one is this, followed by this little strum guitar. And they kind of alternate, which is kind of fun. So it goes. And then of course we have the low res under everything. Keep in mind, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but everything is being sidechained to the kick and the snare with 2 separate sidechains. I have these 2 shaper boxes, left for the kick, right for the snare. The kick is a little bit longer because the kick has a little bit more low end, and the snare is shorter because it is a little bit more of a rim, so it doesn't have a big tail. So I didn't want it to cut out too much. And yeah, I don't really see anything else important. So that's the first part of the drop. On the second part of the drop, we add more elements and just layer everything a little bit more to kind of deepen it. This is so loud. One of the biggest things that you hear is this channel called Bing. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a Bing, doesn't it? Bing. This sound is Chromophone Fairmount Marimba. And what's cool about this one is it has a delay that's not synced to the grid. It's at 330 milliseconds. It's kind of just going at its own pace, and no one can stop it. I have OTT on 100%, 361% time. I have Valhalla Room set to about 23 wet, and also this Pro L2 to kind of kill the transient a little bit. The delay is also set to ping pong, so it goes left to right. I add this little ambient vocal pad. And on the vocal cuts themselves, I actually add this kilohertz pitch shifter. It's at +12, which is pretty much a perfect octave. But after the first hit, it transitions to +7, which is a perfect fifth. I just felt like it added a cool little harmony to the second part, but it sounded a little bit weird on the one, so I just shifted it from 12 to 7 and alternated. I also add this new Foley. So yeah, that's pretty much the first breakdown, the first build, and the first drop. For the second breakdown and the second build and the second drop, I just copy and pasted it. I mean, truthfully speaking, I did copy and paste it, but I added a couple more elements to kind of transition the two and build on top of the first drop. So I'm going to discuss those also. I added a down lifter so that it's a little bit more intense this time, followed by these two super saw layer chords. 16 unison, sawtooth, put Torverb and RC color, and it just pretty much adds another layer, more melody, fills out the spectrum a little bit more. This other super saw titled conveniently Super Saw 2, and it's just the same super saw with a higher octave and I think less voices. And then the outro kind of resolves everything by low passing the vocals, low passing the piano, kind of leaving it on a nice happy note. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. This is kind of my first time really making a YouTube video, so go easy on me. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Also, thank you to Monstercat Silk for believing in me and helping me release the song. They were awesome. They were very kind and a pleasure to work with. I don't know how to do YouTube outros, so I'm gonna just leave it at that.